So what if I told you that the most powerful financial secrets weren't invented by some tech genius in the last decade, but have actually been hiding in plain sight for thousands of years? Well, that's what we're going to dig into today. We're breaking down The Richest Man in Babylon, a book whose simple wisdom has been building fortunes since ancient Babylon.
This book was written way back in the 1920s, and the cool thing about it is there are no complex charts, no confusing jargon. Instead, it uses these really simple stories, little parables set in the ancient world, to teach the unchanging universal laws of money. And the reason it's still so popular is because the principles that worked 6,000 years ago, well, they still work today.
I want you to just picture it for a second. Ancient Babylon. We're talking the cradle of finance, a city just glittering with wealth, towering temples, the legendary hanging gardens. It was a place where the very air just hummed with prosperity. And in its streets, you'd see the noisy chariots of the super rich, jostling for space with regular tradesmen and even barefoot beggars.
Okay, so now let's meet our main character, Bansir. This guy is one of the best chariot builders in the entire city. He's a hard worker, he's incredibly skilled at his craft, he's a man who should be doing great. And yet, as he's sitting there, staring at his empty purse, he is just filled with despair.
And this right here, this brings us to a problem that feels just as real today as it did way back then. The struggle of working your entire life, being really good at what you do, but having absolutely nothing to show for it when it comes to your finances.
So Bansir is venting all this frustration to his best friend, Kobe, who's a musician. He's just looking around at all the incredible wealth of Babylon and realizes, we have no part in this. They work long hours, they earn good money, but their purses are always empty. Sound familiar?
And this is their light bulb moment. It's a huge realization. Bansir basically says, look, you spent your whole life becoming a brilliant musician, and you succeeded. I spent my life becoming the best chariot builder, and I succeeded. But neither one of us has ever spent any time trying to learn the rules of actually acquiring gold.
So here's the real problem, laid bare. They were doing everything we're told makes a good, hardworking person, but they were missing the key ingredients that actually make someone wealthy. They had the work ethic down pat, but the financial strategy? Totally missing. And with this new understanding, they decide it's time to take action.
So what's their big plan? Well, it's pretty simple. They decide to go to the one person who seems to have figured it all out, their old childhood friend Arkad, who just so happens to be famous now as the richest man in all of Babylon. They figure, hey, it costs nothing to ask a friend for some advice, right?
So you're probably wondering, how did Arkad do it? Was he just lucky? Did he inherit a massive fortune? Nope, not at all. His story actually starts just like theirs. He began as a humble scribe, working these long, grueling hours, carving records onto clay tablets, with nothing to his name but a really powerful desire to be rich.
Then one day, this rich, old moneylender named Algamish comes in, and he needs a job done like yesterday. He offers Arkad 2 coppers for the work. But Arkad, he sees a much bigger opportunity. He makes a counteroffer. He says, I will work all through the night to finish this if you will teach me the secret to becoming rich. And you know what? Algamish agrees.
So Arkad, totally exhausted, finishes carving the tablets just as the sun is coming up. Algamish, true to his word, reveals the secret. And it's a secret so simple, yet so profound, that it's about to change Arkad's life forever. He says, I found the road to wealth when I decided that a part of all I earned was mine to keep.
Now Arkad is totally confused. He asks, isn't all I earn mine to keep? But Algamish points out the simple truth. Far from it. You pay the guy who makes your clothes. You pay the guy who makes your sandals. You pay the baker. You pay everyone except yourself. And this right here is the core of pay yourself first. Your savings have to get the first slice of your income, not just whatever's left over at the end.
And that idea leads us directly to the first and most important of what the book calls the 7 cures for a lean purse. This is the absolute foundation for building wealth. You have to start fattening your purse.
Arkad explains this with a really simple analogy. Think about it. If an egg merchant puts 10 eggs in his basket every morning, but he only takes out 9 to sell, what's eventually going to happen? Right, the basket will start to overflow. Your purse, your bank account, it's the exact same idea. For every 10 coins you put in, only take 9 out to spend. So let's make it super concrete. The rule that Arkad was given, and the one he passes on, is to save no less than 1/10 of everything you earn, 1 coin out of every 10. That's it. That is the beginning of the whole game.
Okay, and right on cue, here comes the objection that everybody immediately thinks of. A tenth? Are you kidding me? I can barely cover my necessary expenses as it is. It's the most common roadblock people face, then and now.
And Arkad's answer here is just brilliant. He says we have to stop confusing our necessary expenses with our desires. Because our desires, well, they're endless. And if we're not careful, they will always grow to eat up all of our income no matter how much we make. The act of saving that first tenth, that is you protesting to the contrary.
So paying yourself first is the critical starting point, but it's just one piece of a much larger system. After Arkad mastered this first step, he still had to learn the other laws of gold, often through some pretty painful mistakes, to really build his fortune. So let's check out how this whole system works.
It really boils down to these 3 core laws. First, live on less than you earn. That's the whole pay yourself first thing we just talked about. Next, and this is a big one, seek advice only from people who are competent to give it. Arkad learned this the hard way when he lost all his savings by trusting a brickmaker's advice on buying rare jewels. And finally, you have to learn to make your gold work for you.
And this brings us to this really powerful metaphor from the book for what we now call investing and compound interest. Every single coin you save is a golden slave that can work for you. And then every coin it earns becomes its child, which can also work for you. This is how you build a whole army of income that flows into your purse, whether you're working or not.
So here it is, the whole shebang, the complete system that Arkad taught the citizens of Babylon. You can see how it all builds on itself, right? First, you save. Second, you control your spending, what we'd call making a budget. Third, you invest that savings. Fourth, you protect your money from bad deals and risky schemes. And the last few are all about the long game, owning your home, planning for retirement, and always, always improving your skills so you can earn more.
You know, what Arkad's story really teaches us is that getting wealthy isn't about luck. The book says fickle fate actually ruins more people than it helps. Real, lasting wealth comes from preparation. It's about consistently applying these simple laws so that when opportunity finally does knock, you're ready for it.
And in the end, it all comes back to this one single transformative idea. This is the sentence that can change everything. It's what turned a poor scribe into the richest man in Babylon. So the question it leaves us with is pretty simple. What could it do for you?